Ready to dive into this talk on building habits for abundance? Some seriously intriguing stuff in here.
I know, right? The way they frame good health as our natural state really grabbed me.
Yeah, it's like they're saying our bodies want to thrive,
Yeah,
so let's just give them what they need.
exactly.
It's refreshing instead of chasing some idealized version of health.
Totally. And speaking of giving our bodies what they need, did you catch that bit about sleep?
Oh yeah, how they link good sleep to better decision making. Makes you wonder.
Seriously.
When was the last time I got a good night's sleep?
And they had those specific tips, remember? Like investing in a quality mattress and sheets.
Oh, right. Natural fibers, cotton or silk, that kind of thing.
Yeah, creating that sleep sanctuary. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I'm all for it. A little luxury never hurt anyone, right?
True. And going to bed an hour earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Could you see yourself trying that?
An hour. That's a tough one. I mean, I like the idea of it,
Right.
but actually doing it, we'll see. Although they're right, paying attention to how you feel in the morning is huge.
Totally. And they said to try waking up without an alarm 1 day a week, at least. Let your body naturally rise.
Okay, that part I could get on board with.
It's about listening to your body's cues. And it's not just sleep, right? They talk about this with eating, too.
Oh, for sure. Like, how often do we eat just because it's there, not because we're actually hungry?
All the time. So they have this great question to ask yourself before you eat.
Let me guess, am I actually hungry?
Or am I just thirsty?
Oh, right. Because our bodies get those signals crossed sometimes, don't they?
All the time, they said. It's such a simple thing, but I bet it makes a difference.
It's like that pause button before you mindlessly grab something.
Exactly. And have you ever heard the one about stopping eating when you're 70% full?
I have. Does the speaker mention that?
They do. Apparently, it does wonders for your energy levels.
It makes sense, though. It takes time for your stomach to tell your brain it's full.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
So you avoid that overly stuffed feeling.
Exactly.
Okay, are you ready for a curveball?
Hit me.
They actually recommend avoiding supermarkets
Wait, what? Like, altogether?
as much as possible, they said.
That's a little out there. But then again, maybe not.
Right.
It's so easy to get sucked into buying a bunch of processed foods.
It's exactly their point.
So what's the alternative?
An 80-20 approach. 80% whole, unprocessed foods. Fruits, veggies, legumes, some grains, and 20%, whatever you want.
I like that.
Right. Balance is key.
So it's not about deprivation, it's about being mindful.
Exactly. They also mentioned minimizing fried foods, processed foods, and dairy. And keeping things fresh. No reheating food a million times.
It's about honoring the natural state of food, where it comes from, what it's like to eat real whole foods.
Right. Oh, and they even suggest exploring a mostly vegetarian diet, like
Okay.
70%.
Interesting, just to see how you feel, I imagine. Not a hard and fast rule, which is kind of their whole thing, right? Tuning in.
Definitely. Oh, and one more thing about food.
Okay, what is it?
They say not to mix proteins and carbohydrates in the same meal.
Wait, really? Like no chicken and rice together?
Not even. Or like rice and potatoes. No mixing protein types either, or carb types.
No, that's interesting. What's the thinking behind that one?
It's something called trophologia, which is all about combining foods for optimal digestion. Helps your body conserve energy by not having to work as hard.
Trophologia, huh? I'm gonna have to look into that. I learn something new every time we do this.
Me too.
Yeah?
It really makes you think about how we can work with our bodies instead of against them. It's like they're saying taking care of your mind is just as important as taking care of your body, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And it sounds like they have some pretty specific ideas about that. What's their advice for starting the day off right?
Silence. They're big on silence.
Really, just like quiet time.
Yeah, just a few minutes before you even look at your phone or anything.
Before the day runs away with you.
Exactly.
I can see that. Hitting the reset button. Did they get into any specific techniques for finding that silence?
You know, not really. They didn't mention meditation or anything like that. It was more about the importance of creating the space for it, however you can.
Just that willingness to be present, even for a few minutes. I like it. So, what comes after the silence?
They talk about goal setting, but it's not your typical to-do list.
Oh, how so?
Instead of a whole bunch of tasks, they suggest identifying just one key goal for the day.
Just one. Okay, I'm intrigued.
But here's the catch. You pick one goal for each area of your life: professional, personal, and social.
I like that. It's a more holistic approach, isn't it?
Totally. And it's about more than just checking things off a list. Like with the professional goal, they emphasize connecting it to your larger purpose.
So, how does this one goal move you closer to where you want to be in your career.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's the personal goal. This one is all about your own growth and well-being, what nourishes you as an individual.
Taking care of yourself so you can take care of everything else. It's that can't pour from an empty cup idea.
Yeah.
And what about the social goal?
That one's all about connection. How are you going to engage with your community, with loved ones?
Because we're social creatures, right? We thrive on that connection.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a theme here because just like they started the day with intention, they close it out that way too.
Oh, yeah, with the gratitude practice.
Right. Before bed, they suggest finding 3 things, big or small, that you're grateful for.
It's amazing how powerful that can be, right?
It's a game changer, honestly. Whenever I actually remember to do it, it totally shifts my perspective.
It's like training your brain to focus on the abundance that's already there.
Instead of getting caught up in what's missing, which is a recipe for stress, in my experience. And it's not just about personal well-being, right? This speaker had some fascinating ideas about professional life, too.
Oh, yeah, especially when it comes to, like, finding that innovative edge. Did you catch that part?
I did. I think we could all use a little more innovation in our work lives. What's their secret?
Well, it all starts with service, they say.
Okay, what do they mean by that?
It's about constantly asking yourself, how can I serve more people? How can I serve them better?
It's about making a difference, not just, hating metrics.
Exactly. And they talk about no being a stepping stone, which I thought was really interesting.
Instead of a dead end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a not yet, or maybe a sign that you need to adjust your approach.
Love that. So it's about resilience, that growth mindset.
That's it. And to help cultivate that, they suggest building in what they call islands of freedom.
Islands of freedom. Okay, I'm listening.
So it's about scheduling time, whether it's weekly, monthly, even yearly, that's dedicated to creative thinking, to innovation.
Time to work on your business, not just in it.
Yes. And during those islands of freedom, experiment. Try new things. Don't be afraid to fail.
Because even failure's feedback, right?
Exactly. It's all part of the learning process. And speaking of which, they're big fans of the minimum viable product concept.
Well, MVP. Yes, it's about getting your idea or product out there before it's perfect.
Right. Get feedback, make it better as you go.
Action over perfection.
Exactly. And that proactive energy, it's huge in their financial advice, too.
All right, let's talk money. Because who couldn't use a little abundance in that area?
And their first piece of advice is to invest in knowledge.
So, educate yourself. Hire a financial advisor if you need to.
Yeah, whatever it takes to make informed decisions, it's an investment in yourself.
Totally agree. So what kind of habits are they talking about specifically?
Well, they emphasize the importance of long-term thinking. Think years, not months, when it comes to your finances.
Don't get bogged down in the day-to-day. Think big picture.
Right. And of course, they're all about consistent saving. Aim for at least 10% of your income.
Make it a non-negotiable.
No matter how much you're making, they said. Use those savings first to pay down any bad debt, like credit cards or loans. Then build up what they call a cushion of tranquility.
I love that. A cushion of tranquility. What is that exactly?
Basically, it's 1 to 2 years of living expenses saved up.
Oh, wow. So you've got that safety net no matter what.
Exactly. And when it comes to investing, be contrarian, they say. Buy low, sell high.
Don't follow the crowd.
Think for yourself. And remember that whole quality over quantity idea applies to everything, not just investments.
So we're talking cars, clothing, tools.
Everything. Invest in the best quality you can afford. It'll save you money in the long run.
Less replacing things, less waste. I like it.
Right. And they circle back to debt, too. Get rid of the bad kind. And then they actually suggest considering good debt.
Wait, good debt. Is there such a thing?
They say so. Like, if you're thinking about buying a rental property, that mortgage could be considered good debt because it's generating income.
It's a different way of thinking about it, that's for sure.
And to stay on top of everything, they recommend tracking your net worth each month.
Using a spreadsheet or an app or something.
Yeah, anything to keep track of your assets and liabilities. It's about knowing where you stand financially. No surprises.
I like it. So what about staying motivated throughout the process? They talk about that, right?
Oh, yeah. They have this great tip. Enjoy small tastes of your future wealth.
What does that even mean?
So let's say you're working towards a really big financial goal. They're saying give yourself little rewards along the way that align with that vision.
Like if your dream is to travel the world, maybe you buy yourself a fancy travel magazine each month.
Exactly. Or treat yourself to a nice meal at a restaurant with your partner.
Just these little reminders of what you're working towards. Love it.
And then For their final piece of advice, they have two things. First, they suggest hitting pause on the lottery.
Okay, I can get behind that.
It can distract us from the real work of building wealth, which takes time and effort. It's not about luck.
Right. It's about making smart choices, building good habits, and being consistent. What's the second thing?
Don't steal. Ever.
Simple, but powerful. Although I have a feeling they're talking about more than just, shoplifting.
Oh, absolutely. They mean pay your bills on time, be punctual for meetings, always be honest in your dealings.
It's about integrity.
Exactly. And to cultivate that, they have this really interesting suggestion. Bless each bill as you pay it. Yeah, instead of thinking, ugh, another bill, think of it as, I'm grateful I'm able to pay this.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your perspective from scarcity to abundance, even with something like paying bills.
That is such a powerful reframe. This whole conversation has been full of them, actually. It really makes you think.
It really does. And it reminds us that building a life of abundance isn't about some magic formula.
Right.
It's about these small, consistent habits, these daily choices that we make.
That add up over time.
Exactly. So what resonated most with you from all this? What one habit could you see yourself implementing or maybe recommitting to today? Let us know.
We'd love to hear from you.